What's up, people? Welcome to the channel's first video. We are going to be learning how to create a form right from beginner to advanced. Okay, so this will be creating at the end of the whole series. Okay, so it's going to be in the form of a series where we have the form inactive. So I've designed I made two designs here. We have the form inactive, then we have the form active. Okay, so this is basically when the user hasn't interacted with the form yet, and this is when the user is maybe filling out a specific place. Let's say the user is filling out the name place. So that's what happens. Okay, so we're going to learn how to create this from scratch. Okay, so I have my code editor here, or my text editor, which is Visual Studio Code, and that's what we're going to be using to create something like this. Okay, we'll be using that to create something like this, but we'll start with the basics first. Okay, alright, so the first line of code, I'll just put in an exclamation mark, and then hit tab. Then that should generate the basic structure of HTML for me. Then I have everything up here with live server, so everything we do should show up over here. Okay, so just change the title here to HTML and CSS form / beginners. Okay, alright, so basically the title, whatever is here in the title element, this text shows up here in the tab. Okay, so something like this, they use a title element for that. So that's what the title element does. So you don't really have to worry about anything here. All these are like, the only thing we should worry about is just the meta name viewports, which helps in responsiveness for both mobile and large screen devices. Okay, so it's a very important line of code. You should always keep that there. Basically, this is telling the browser that we are using HTML5, and here this HTML element here is the root element of our page, and it has only two direct children: the head, then the body tags. Okay, so the head basically contains the metadata of our web page. Then metadata is data about data. So that's basically all the things that go into the head here. We don't see them on the page, but they are very important things to our website. Okay, right, cool. Then the body is where we actually see the content we see on the page. So everything that goes onto the body is what we see on the page. So for example, for Figma, this is their whole body. This whole thing is the body of Figma. Okay, so basically that's what we are going to be doing today. So we start with an h1 element, a form element, and we have to do this because we are going to create a form, and a form is let's see, the container for everything that's going to go into our form. So we just type in form, then we have the form element created with an action attribute. Here is an attribute called action, which we actually don't need. It's used when we are sending the data, we are posting or getting data from a database or a server. Okay, but we are not going to be doing that today. We are just going to look at beginner stuff. Then anything else you're going to type should be inside the form element. Okay, so we'll start with a label, and what a label does is that it tells the user what to put in there. Okay, so I'll say label for name, and I'll say name. Okay, so you should see on the page name now, so you can see that we have this name thing, right? Cool. Then we need the user to type. We need to give the user somewhere to type. So if you look here, there's actually somewhere that the user can type in. Okay, there's somewhere that the user can type in, and to do that we use something we call the input element. Okay, then notice that the input element doesn't have another closing tag like this. Another closing tag like this. This is invalid. There's nothing like this. Okay, it is a self-closing element. Okay, so let me give a comment. To give a comment is just this. Okay, so I'll see this is a self-closing element. Okay, or tag, right? So we don't need to define a closing tag for it. You could either close it like this or like this, okay, either like that or this, okay, and it all works perfectly. Then it takes a couple of attributes. So the first attribute you might want to put there is the type attribute. So we just type in type, which shows us, which tells the browser what kind of input we're expecting from the user, okay. So we have to define a type, okay. So I'll just go over a few of them. We can have a type of button. Then to actually show a button on the page, we need to put a value for the button. So we just say value, which is another attribute, okay. So I'll say submit, sorry, submit, okay. So then we have a button that says submit. So you see, that's what the input type of button does, right? Then we have checkbox, okay. We have checkbox. What that does is that it creates a little box we can check, okay. So that's the input type of checkbox. Then we have radio, right, which creates this radio button that we can select from. And then then we have email. So I'll just go over the important ones, or the commonly used ones. Then we have email, which asks for an email. So something like this. Let me add for this example, I need to add a submit button so that you understand what is going to go on here. Say button, then I'll say submit, okay. Alright, so if I type in maybe the pro like this, you see that there's an alert which is telling us to include an @ symbol in the email address. So we can't actually submit this, we have to include an @ in the email address, right? So if I include that @, let's see what happens. Then we have to enter a path following the @ symbol, okay. So we need to add a domain name, something we call a domain name. If I say at gmail.com, then you can see that we don't have any errors, okay. We don't have any more errors, but because we don't have any server to send this information to, it just refreshes the page, okay. Alright, so we just set this one to text because we expect text from the user. We expect the user to type in text, okay. Right, so then we'll say ID, okay. So basically ID means identification, and anytime you put a value over here, so anytime you say label for name, we should actually create that identification here, so that we know that this label is being connected to this input, okay. So now these two are like connected. Sorry, these two elements are like connected because we said label for name, and we actually have the ID of name here, so like they are connected now, right? Cool. So we can actually type in everything here, and then the cool thing about the input type of text is that it accepts anything, numbers, symbols, like anything at all, right? Cool. Then what else do we want to ask from our user? We just ask for label, or ask for maybe email, right? Email. Cool. And I'll say over beneath it or under it, I'll just say input, right? Input type, and I'll say email because we are going to request an email. Then what do I do next? I need to create an ID to link the label to its corresponding input box. So I'll just say ID email like this. Now they are sort of linked together, right? So we have that there, but we need to actually put something here. So we say email, right? Email in between the opening and closing elements or tags of the label element, right? Cool. Then we just ask for another one, label for password. Then we'll see password, right? Cool. Then we create an input, then we give it a type of text. But see this, right? If we give this a type of text, and then okay, let's just connect them. So I'll just say an ID of password, an ID of password, right? Cool. So notice that we can actually see the password as we type, and that is not secured. We want our password not to be seen by anybody while we type it out, right? So there's actually a type value called password, okay, which renders it in a whole different way. So what I mean is this: so I can actually type in this without actually seeing the numbers. They actually come up sorry, I don't see the characters. They show up in dots, these kind of dots here. These represent the password, okay. Then we can use some JavaScript to actually show the password, right? Cool. So yeah, then what else do we want to do here? We want to ask for, but our form is not looking so well now. We like to make everything sit on its own line. So to make everything sit on its own line, there's something we can use called another element called the break element, which is just a BR, and it's also a self-closing element. Notice that it has only an opening one, but it doesn't have a closing element, right? So it's a self-closing element. So we put that between each of them, the elements, right? So you should take that to the next line. Then you put another BR here. Then this should look like a normal form now, right? Okay, so next up, we'd like to ask for the gender of our users. So I'll just say h2. H2 means heading 2, right? So I'll just say gender. Then to make this intuitive, we have to actually put a header or a title for this whole form, okay. So I'll give an h1, and I'll say you might want to sign up, right? Cool. So we should see a text showing up saying you might want to sign up, okay, right? So yeah, h1 is the largest heading you can ever have. We have from h1 to h6, okay. We have from h1 to h6. The highest is it's a 6, the lowest is a 1. We don't have h7, right? We don't have h7. You notice we don't have h7. Nothing actually shows up. It just shows us as a normal text because we don't have h7. We don't have h0 as well. We don't have h0, okay. So notice that it still shows us a normal text, but we have from h1 through 6. So from 1 through 6, that's what we have. So we have h54 instead, right? You can see we even use an h2 here. Then the way headings work in HTML is that the lower the number, the higher the importance, okay. So h1 is the lowest, so it is more important. It is larger than the rest, followed by the h2, which is of second importance. And you see how it's kind of smaller than the h1 title, right? So that those are just the key differences. Cool. Not to forget, we would like to ask for user's age as well. So we can just copy this over, Control C, we put a BR there, then we come over here and then we see label for age, then we link, you say ID is now age, okay. So the ID always has to match the attributes of the value of the 4 attributes, right? Cool. So I'll just say age, right? Then we don't want our age to be an email, so the type here that we can use is a type that is called number. So we call that number, right? Which, let's see how the number works. It allows us to type only numbers. We can type in words, okay. Sorry, let's okay, haven't refreshed yet. Alright, so that's how number works. You can see these arrows show up. We can type text inside. I'm actually typing text right now, but I see it doesn't type. But if I start typing numbers in there, numbers will actually show up, and I can use my top arrow and my down arrow to increment and decrement, right? Cool. So we want our age to be a number. Then let's see, on this website we want to restrict such an age, so we can say a min length of, sorry, not min length, min, just min, right? Min means minimum. That means the minimum age we could ever have is like, let's see, 10 years. So now I can't go below 10, Okay, so it's always going to be 10. I'm trying to go down. Okay, so you can't go below 10 because the minimum is 10. Then I'll just give it a max of let's see 21. Okay, then now we shouldn't be able to go above 21. Okay, I think something happened. It should come back shortly. All right, so we are back here. So a max of 21. You can see that the input box kind of shrunk down because of how the max value we defined here. Okay, so now we can go from 10 to 21. We can go more than 10, 21. We can go less than 10. So that's how the max works. Okay, the min and then the max attributes. So these are all attributes, and then whatever comes in the codes are the values. So I'll just show you the syntax of attributes. Attribute syntax. Okay, the syntax for attributes is this. We have this kind of attributes which have a value in there. So I'll just say has value. Then we have the ones that don't have value, so yeah, just like this. Okay, so to show you the ones that have values, we actually looked at a few already. We have the 4 attributes which has a value of password. We have the type here too as well. We have the ID attributes which also has its value, another ID, another 4, and then even here we have name, content, we have lang, and then all of these have all of these attributes have values. So you can notice that they follow the syntax here. We have the attributes outside, then we have equal to symbol, then the value is wrapped in quotes. So that's basically the syntax, right? Then there are attributes that have no values. So what I like to call them is valueless attributes. Okay, valueless attributes. So an example of a valueless attribute is this. Okay, this HTML here is an attribute, but it has no value. Okay, so basically that's an example of a valueless attribute. You can look at more from Google, but I'll just take this from here and maybe place it here. Okay, so that you can access it when you go to the GitHub repo. So I'll link this this repo in the description, so you can actually go to the GitHub repo and see how things work. Alright, so now we want to get the genders of them, of the users. Okay, so we put a label. Let me see, for male, right? For male. Then I'll wrap the input inside the label, and you can notice that this is the first time we are doing that, and this is actually a thing that you like to do if you are dealing with radio buttons. Okay, don't worry about the server, which it will just come back shortly. All right, so this is a thing you like to do if you are working with radio buttons. You like that the user can click the text. So for example, let's put a text there. The user can click this text, okay, this text, and to select the box. Okay, so to do that we have to actually add the ID to connect those two together. So I'll say ID male, and then see what happens. We can actually click the text and then to select the box. So if you wrap the input inside the label and you connect their IDs, you connect the 4 value to the ID value, then you can actually click the text and access it. Right, cool. Let me create another break. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can just put them down in the description, the comment box, and then I'll look at them and I'll see how I can answer them. So I'll try my best to answer all your questions if you have any. And then we have another one here. We say female. Okay, female. So female as well. Then we say female. Right, cool. So now we have these that we can actually let our users select from, and then notice we have one problem here. The user is actually able to select all genders at the same time, which is not very intuitive because nobody has 2 genders. Okay, so we like them to select only one, and to do that it's pretty simple. We have another attribute called name. The name attribute will help us here. So I'll just give this one a name of gender. and give this radio button the same name. So name equal gender. And now that they have the same name, what happens is that we can't choose both of them at the same time. We can choose only one. So look at this. So you see, notice we can choose only one now because of the name attributes. If you don't give them the same name, let's say I misspelled gender, notice that we can still choose all of them at the same time, right? So this I choose all of them at the same time, right? So if I give them same names, then I can choose only one at a time. Okay, I can choose only one at a time. So if it's male, it's male. If it's female, it's female. You can choose both at the same time, right? Cool. So basically, this is just the basics of creating a form. And then I know it doesn't look very good as our Figma design here, but this is just the basic things you need to know before you can actually start creating something nice layouts or nice forms like these, like this or this. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll end the video right here, and then this is enough for you to consume. And then I'll urge you all to practice, because if you want to actually do programming, then you'll need to have a lot of practice time, practice a lot, because if you don't practice, you're gonna forget, and you have to come back and watch the video again, then you forget, come back and watch it, and you're never going to get better that way. You have to practice, you have to persevere, you have to not give up, you have to be ready. Okay, so yeah, that's just basically the things you have to do. And I'll urge you guys to actually try this on your own and see if you can create something similar to this, if not very alike, but something that is similar to this, something that's functionable like this, where you can select both genders, where you can actually type the password without seeing it. You can give age in numbers, not in words. Then you can have an email. Okay, you can have an email, you can have your name. Okay, you can put a name, right? So just go ahead and try these, and then if you don't understand, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to like not get things right, because it's all part of the journey. If you don't make mistakes, you're never going to learn. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, and then go ahead and give this a try, right? So thanks for getting together with me to make this video awesome. I know this is a very long video for a first video, but I think it was worth it. And yeah, as I said, any questions, you just post them into the comment box, and I'll actually check them all out. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.